Last video, we talked about my everyday camera, which was the Leica M6. I talked about how that camera worked for me and it provided an experience that no other camera was able to give me, and it was almost like an extension of me. And that started a discussion in the comment section about the Leica M experience, and I wanted to compare it to another Leica M camera that is very, very similar, but also very different in that aspect. And that's the Leica M2. This camera feels like a Leica M6 in every way, except for a few differences that make it its unique experience. The Leica M2 was produced in 1957, which is really interesting to me because when I hold this camera, I feel like it could have rolled off the production line yesterday. And that goes true for any Leica M camera, whether it's their newest digital models or all the way back to this M2. The ideal user for a Leica M2 is an experienced photographer that appreciates good craftsmanship and design, but also wants to be able to take this with them everywhere they go to document their experiences without the hassle of a bigger, more complicated system. Like any other Leica M series camera, it's made of really durable, high quality material, and it's a really sleek, portable design, making it one of the most compact 35mm rangefinder cameras out there. So let's talk about some of the key differences between the Leica M6 and the Leica M2. The Leica M2 does not have a built-in light meter, so photographers using this camera have to rely on their own understanding and experience of exposure or carry an external light meter, whereas the Leica M6 has these two small LED triangles. They're red and they're very visible. I think that is the biggest difference in terms of experience. So I talked in the previous video about how nothing interrupts me and it feels like this extension of my eye, except for the light meter, which I don't really look at it a lot because I'll kind of set my exposure settings to what I want, and typically within that same environment, I don't change them a lot. But that would be the only thing that is kind of popping out at the bottom of the frame, and it might be disruptive to some people. And I think if you're after that more pure experience, the Leica M2 just doesn't have that. Another key difference between the Leica M2 and the M6 is the viewfinder frame lines. And it is a big deal because some people like to shoot on the wider side of things than others, and so it is an important thing to think about. The Leica M2 starts at 35mm, goes to 50, then 90, then 135. So if you wanted something wider than 35mm, you have to slip on an external viewfinder, and to some people, that just kind of defeats the purpose of a more portable system with less things that you have to carry around. But also some people that are gear nerds that enjoy collecting more pieces of equipment, I know they enjoy that, having that extra viewfinder and being able to use it. Really just depends on your style. The M6, on the other hand, starts at 24mm, goes to 35mm, 50mm, 75mm, and 90mm. There are different variants there too. They're not all the same. In terms of production years, this is a big one for just your confidence using a camera, if you're willing to get it serviced or not, or the kind of collector that you are. The M2 was produced between 1957 and 1967. One, that was a long time ago, and also they did not run that in production for that long. Well, the Leica M6 was in production for way longer, starting in 1984 all the way to 2002, with the TTL models introduced in 1998. In terms of collectibility, I think there are many variants with the M6, so that kind of varies a lot. But at the end of the day, they're both limited production runs. You're gonna be fine if you purchase it and you take care of it. Chances are it's gonna hold value no matter what camera you get. It's never gonna be obsolete. It already is obsolete. Speaking of getting a camera service, this one had a significant light leak that I'm trying to track down. I'm gonna run a few rolls through it in the coming weeks to figure out whether it's coming from the bottom of the camera or is it coming from behind the shutter. Either something I could simply fix myself or it needs to be sent in. But these things happen. I've had this happen with other cameras. It is part of the process. In conclusion, I think it comes down to one thing. Do you feel comfortable not having a light meter on board? That is the biggest difference in terms of user experience. Or do you welcome the more kind of unfiltered, pure experience of not seeing those LEDs flash at you in the viewfinder? If you found this conversation interesting, please comment below. Tell me your thoughts about the Leica M2. If you've used one, or if you've used an M6 and an M2 and you had a different experience, tell me a little bit about that. Maybe that'll inspire the next video. But also, I'm interested in hearing people's experiences with other rangefinder systems, 35mm systems, and how they stack up to the M6. I think the M6 is a good baseline here, just because it's probably gonna be the most common rangefinder that people might have access to. Anyway, like always, please like and subscribe. It motivates me to continue making these videos, and I will see you all on the next one.